Hello and welcome to the Sports Center YouTube channel. Me and Carl are here today to talk about Anthony Joshua's next opponent. Carl, how are we doing?
Good. You?
I'm all right. So I listened to TalkSport today, and basically they had Daniel Dubois' coach on, and I believe his trainer, so he's called Don Charles, and he were fucking giving it
Yeah.
all that about come on AJ, come on Eddie, sign the papers AJ, what you waiting for? And I thought, just hang on a minute, mate. Hang on a minute. Fair enough. Dubois got the victory over Hergovic. But I wouldn't say it were a class performance. I wouldn't say you're anywhere near AJ's level. And this guy's fucking giving it all
No,
that. Honestly, I just thought, mate, you need to wind it in a little bit.
completely agree. I mean, I've not seen. I think we both said it to each other that we've not seen a right lot of Hergovic, but he's been at that mandatory for I believe it is the IBF,
Yes.
for a
Yep.
long time,
Nearly 3 years.
and thinking that this guy must have a bit about him
Mm.
for him to be for him to be there that long. So thinking that this fight against Dubois, he were going to push him to one side because Dubois, let's get it right, average at best. He's not elite, and
Absolutely
to
not.
be fair, it did do a number on him. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like wow or anything like that, but it beat him pretty easily. Really, I felt it would
For
did a number on him. But
for the first couple of
but
rounds, though, he were getting caught with a lot of shots. I remember we were watching it, and it was just like it was a left-hand jab, overhand right, and it was just like it was like watching just a fucking repeat of a video, just over and over again for 6 minutes. It was like
yeah,
we were just looking at each other like, is this actually happening?
how can you not see that this exact same pattern is happening every time, every
Yeah,
time? But if you look at him, there was no marks on him, so these right hand overs weren't obviously doing a right lot of damage.
I did notice
And
that.
then obviously he came into his own, and
Yeah,
it and he did a number on him. But we go back to the AJ. He's like, you are not on his level, pal. You know, yeah, we've all slagged AJ off recently for the past couple of years for not being at it. But whether that was fair or not, his last couple of fights have been pretty devastating for of AJ. You know,
yeah.
in a good way for him. So for him now to be potentially put to Dubois, I've been putting Dubois on something like maybe Wilder or Parker or somewhere like that. I won't be putting him anywhere near AJ.
So there's this big thing that His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh, he's got an announcement. Is it the back end of this month, I believe? And they're pretty
I'm
much
not
going to.
sure.
I think it's the back end of this month, and they're basically going to announce what we think is going to be AJ's next fight, and it's tipped to be at Wembley around about September, October time. So my question to you would be, because I think it's going to be one or two people. It's either going to be Dubois or it's going to be Zhang. Do
Yeah,
either, I'm going to say, does Dubois and AJ, but does either of those opponents for Anthony Joshua sell out Wembley? Because I'm not so sure, me. Or does AJ just sell it out on his own, do you think?
yeah. I wouldn't say I think the pull of AJ probably just sells it out, but I think the Dubois fight it makes it a pretty easy fight. I think for AJ. I think the size of Zhang, and I do think that'd be a bit more awkward for AJ, to be fair. So if I were Eddie Hearn, I'd be thinking I'm putting you in with Dubois because I can't risk you
Yeah,
losing.
Zhang's a risk.
I think Zhang is a risk just because of his size, and yeah, granted he's 70 odd year old, but or however old, it's about 14 or something like that.
I think he might be
41 maybe.
41, 42. Yeah.
So, but I do think he's a risk. He's a bit like Shannon Briggs. He tend to get better the older he went. Um, but I think put him in with Dubois, but it's not the most. But who else can you put him in with?
This is what my next question was going to be to you. You kind of beat me to it. I just don't think there's anyone else because of the Fury Usyk rematch being confirmed. I just don't think there's anyone else out there at the moment. If you want to keep him busy, I think you probably only are left with Dubois, and I think there's a chance that it may be for the IBF belt, depending on what happens with that, whether they end up taking it off Usyk, which obviously I do like AJ. You know, he's a British fighter, so I want him to get that third world. You know, I want him to be a 3-time world champion. But at the same time, I want to see the undisputed fight again in December. I want the Fury Usyk to be for the undisputed again. And I just think
I completely agree, and I think they're fighting for that, aren't they? I mean, I think they're actually fighting to try and keep hold of it till at least this fight's done. But what happens then if Fury wins and we go for the trilogy? Do we ask to keep it again?
Well, I think at the moment, obviously that's a good question. I would presume, and I don't know the ins and outs contractually, but I presume that this rematch is basically off the back of the contract that they had in the same fight, and there won't be a rematch clause in this one, if that makes sense, because ultimately this is the rematch. So I think that's when your AJ steps in.
But there's no way if this ends 1-1, if Fury wins this next one, there's no way there's not a trilogy. No way. So again, going back to AJ, if that does happen, where does AJ go then? Is he just fighting nobodies for the next 2 years?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? And I think looking at Wilder's performance, I'll be surprised if we ever see him in a boxing ring again. You know, he's had a good career. Fair play to the guy. He's earned good money. I think it's time now where you say, walk away with your health.
You know, it could be maybe somebody like Richard Riakporhe. Now, he's obviously fighting Willem Smith. I think he's going to end up coming up into heavyweight, I think. He's a big guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
So I can imagine him coming up into and potentially fighting. But again, would he be on Dubois, AJ's level? I suppose Usyk did it. But
I think the only thing that I can say about Dubois, and you know, I've seen a few of his fights, but granted, I've not watched him closely. I think he's got age on his side. You know, he's only 26, and I think
25, 26, yeah.
I think that's one thing that you like to think that he's got another couple of levels that it can go up to. So maybe,
I mean, for me, his response after, you know, like his reaction, after the match, you know, when he won. Granted, you're gonna be happy, but he were like a shock happy, as though like, I can't believe it, you know, he was like a little kid in a sweet shop, and it was like he wasn't even expecting to really win.
I don't think he's bless him. I'm talking like he's a bloody kid here. Like I don't mean any disrespect, but I don't think he's the best on the mic, is he? I think he's got. But you find that like Joshua and Joe Joyce, in you know, a lot of the Brits, apart from Tyson, with the exception of Tyson Fury, none of them are really like.
They're not very eloquent.
Well, just that trash talking as well. You know, I remember like back in the day when you had like Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank and stuff that were all hell for leather. But I don't these days, unless Tyson Fury's there, you don't really see much trash talk from the Brits. Maybe it's just our kind-hearted nature.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think you've made a good point in Zhang that he's dangerous, and I think AJ's on that trajectory at the moment, and Zhang could maybe like push him back down, and that's the last thing that Eddie will need again.
I mean, they sort of did it with Andy Ruiz, didn't they? With him, that will put you in with somebody who's. I mean, obviously, granted, they didn't expect to lose to him, but
yeah,
you know, they put him in with somebody who's probably a bit better than what they should have put him in with. And I think that's the same now with Zhang and Dubois. So sign him up for Dubois, and if he doesn't wash him away in 2 or 3 rounds, then which I'd completely expect him to.
I don't think it'd go much more than 5 or 6. I think AJ at the moment is spending 2 or 3 finding out his opponent, and then he's just like, right, I know what you're about now, and he's got that punch power back, which we've all been asking for a couple of years. So it's good to see that he's back on his game. But I mean, I'll watch the fight, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't thrill me. I suppose that's what I'm getting at. It doesn't really thrill me.
Well, there's only one thrilling match in heavyweights, and let's say that's December. That's the only one.
It is.
So in a way, but if Usyk does win, do we see Usyk Joshua again? I don't think we do.
I don't know. I think AJ will be hunting down those belts, and to be fair, mate, I wouldn't actually mind seeing Joshua have another stab at Usyk because I think Joshua's a bit of a different. He's a different dude now. You know, I think he's got a different mentality, and I'd like to see him like this AJ of 2023, 2024 AJ. I'd like to see him fight Usyk.
Yeah.
So we shall see, mate. We shall see.
We shall.
Sound. Good chat, mate. Good chat. Right, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Give us a like, drop us a subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. See you later.